if I am using a posterior reference guide, I'll end up notching the anterior femur. So here the solution for me, what I follow is to go midway between and then try to flex the femoral component, sometimes with a posterior reference. Here, example, you can see the mediolateral, in a typical woman anatomy here, mediolateral width is actually dictating for me to use size 2 prosthesis. But the same thing, when I actually measured, he is giving me size 3, which is actually 2 sizes different. So now, if I use size 3, then if I accept size 3, then I will have a mediolateral overhang. But because the mediolateral is size 2, if I use size 2 jig, I will have a huge flexion gap. Okay, so, but if I use posterior referencing with this one, then I will notch anteriorly. So we do not want to increase the flexion gap, but at the same time we don't want notching also. So one may get away if the jig is adjusted to 2.5 and use a 2 cutting block, so that there won't be any mediolateral overhang, and we may get away without increasing significant amount of flexion gap and without significant risk of anterior notching. But sometimes that's not adequate. Sometimes when you do that, and if you actually just before cutting, if you put your C blade, you may feel that you may still be able to have a significant anterior notching. So what are the solutions? The cutting block here is can be tilted a little bit. So anteriorly is like into the slight flexion and then recheck again. So, and it's just cutting the anterior cortex and it's not really notching, but at the same time, a 2 process is being flexed slightly, which will reduce the flexion gap as well. In that way, you will reduce the flexion gap. At the same time, you are not going to do the anterior cortical notching. So, my conclusions here are: jigs are the mainstay of most of the knee replacements in our country and most of the other countries as well. There is individual sizing differences in male and female anatomy. Some of the modern companies, modern designs are being are addressing these problems, but not available for all companies. And sometimes these jigs, the standard jigs, whatever we have to adjust and bypass them as the case dictates. Before distal femoral cut, the varus valgus needs to be rechecked before cutting, and posterior femoral condyle, especially in hyperplastic scenarios, we need to actually ignore that one and actually go by a specific reference point. And again, in a gross mismatch between the anterior, posterior and mediolateral mismatch, one can slightly tilt the lower femoral component without really actually giving any bad function, overall function to the patient. Thank you.
Femur in a patient who has a larger lateral diameter, that probably is a little tricky. Unless you are very, very balanced in the flexion, you are likely to have a tight flexion.
Yes, that's what I mentioned.
It's a far bigger issue in the longer run.
No, that's what I actually like. I am a CR surgeon. I start with CR things. And when I am actually getting into this scenario, then at that time I sacrifice the PCL, which will generally give me some space. And over and above that one, my 3-degree slope, sometimes I increase to 5-degree slope. Usually that helps me.
Thank you. I'll invite Dr. Yadav now to speak on fixation is good.
Cementing is the most neglected aspect of total knee arthroplasty, and I will tell you it is much more important. What I say, foundation of total knee is laid down by balancing, bone cuts and cementing, and all three are equally important. Why all three are equally important? If you have done good soft tissue balancing, good bone cut, you have not done proper cementing, then implant will lose, patient will have problem, and good bone cuts and good balancing is of no use at all. So all are equally important. This is my formula, 33.3% job. And the secret of longevity of total knee arthroplasty is it joint should be well aligned, well balanced, and well cemented. That is the important aspect. And within 3 degree, if there is a malalignment, it is not an issue. Cement, it was discovered by John Charley and it was used in the total hip. And later many scientists, they produced commercially, and cement has not changed much, but the cementing technique has changed a lot. And you should know what is cement. Cement, that liquid part is monomer and that powder is polymer. If you mix them, polymerization takes place and that makes the cement. And now, very important question is, why cement is the best option? Because the elasticity of cement lies between the bone and prosthesis, so it acts as a buffer, and buffer between the very soft object like bone and very hard object like implant. So there is a less stress shielding. If modulus of elasticity is not much difference, there is a less stress shielding and less chances of periprosthetic fracture. And if you are mixing the cement by hand, you should be little gentle, and whether to put monomer first or polymer powder first, this depends on company to company, so it is not an issue. Vacuum mixing, definitely it enhances the character of cement, but it is costly. And cementing has 4 stages: stage of mixing, then stage of waiting, like this stage of waiting because cement is still liquid and sticky. Then working phase, cement is not sticky and you can start using it. Then the hardening of polymerization, and this process is from 8 to 18 minutes in for all the cement from the different company, depending on temperature of the cement, temperature of the prosthesis, temperature of room as well, and viscosity and humidity of OR. And there are 3 types of cement. In totally, I prefer to use medium viscosity cement, so your time is not wasted and you get sufficient time for cementing for femoral component, tibial component, as well as patella, if you want to do patella in one go. So medium viscosity is ideal, what I feel. Few points about the antibiotic loaded cement. There was a study that, this is from the registry, not from the study. It concludes, if you use antibiotic loaded cement and IV antibiotic, then the chances of infection are the lowest. And gentamicin and clindamycin both are available in the cement, and combination of both is excellent and it covers almost all the bacteria. And why antibiotic loaded cement is important, especially in our country India. So we should not follow blindly Europe and Americans. Like they say, give antibiotic for 3 shots. I think we should not follow that. I follow 5 days. I have solid points in favor of giving antibiotic for 5 days. I can argue on that as well. So what does antibiotic cement do? It prevents the growth of bacteria. It is effective before slimy layer or biofilm is formed by bacteria. So that is formed after 3 weeks. So it kills the bacteria in time. If you go through the epidemiology, the most common cause of knee failure is aseptic loosening, and most of the surgeons, more than 90%, they are doing cemented total knee arthroplasty. And tibial tray loosening is most common, as I told earlier, not the femoral component. Most of the problems come in the tibial side, and you can see the bad cementing is the second most common cause of loosening. So how cementing is important. And another important slide, कुछ लोग कहते हैं मैं काफ से करता हूँ total knee arthroplasty. This is very important study. Even if you have taken excellent cut, excellent balance knee, if you are careless during the cementing, or even if you are careful, it is the sitting of the processes over the bone cuts is not as it was previous after the cementing. So 91%. So this study says after the cementing, even in the computer navigation surgery, 90% component little bit change, and most of the change they are within acceptable limit, 1 or 2 millimeter. So message of this paper is benefits of accuracy of bone cuts may be lost at the time of cementing. It means cementing is more important than only the bone cuts by cast. I am 100% cement surgeon, and I use medium viscosity like pelagos, I told you, and I have around 3 to 4, less than 1, 2 to 3 aseptic loosening every year. And there are 2 types of loosening between the bone and cement interface, and another interface between the component and cement. So between the bone and cement, it is very easy. You can see the radiolucent line, and if it is less than 2 millimeter or non-progressive without any symptoms, it is of no use. If it is progressing, patient is having problem, it means patient is going to have a loosening very soon. And between the interface or loosening between the implant and cement, it is very difficult to assess on X-ray. This is our case of cement tibial loosening. Here we have changed only tibial component, not the femoral component. So what is the ideal cement mantle? This is a very fantastic cadaver study from which this thing we have quoted. It says 3 to 5 millimeter penetration is ideal, and 100% surface should be cemented, and less than 3% penetration, 3 millimeter penetration is not good cementing. If more than 5, if you use cement syringe and press it on the trabeculae, it may be more than 3. So that is also bad. It may cause burn to the trabeculae. And doing the good cementing also need creation of good bed. That is most important. DNA cement creation of bed is also equally important. Like surface should be clean by pressure lavage. I prefer pressure lavage, and it should be dried as well. And drilling on the hard surface, drilling is done. So you can see this is a surface in total knee arthroplasty without the tourniquet. Because of the thesis for 2 years we did total knee arthroplasty without tourniquet because we were doing research at that time. Now question is when to apply cement. So timing is very important in the life. Like if correct posture of the body, at correct time is very important for taking shot and taking gas, as well as in other aspect of our life. Similar is here. Timing, mixing timing, and application of over the bone cuts, as well as hitting, putting the processes. Everything has to be at ideal time, at the right time. So when to apply? So most of the surgeon, they prefer when cement is not sticky, that is the during the working phase. Few surgeons they put, as I told you, the syringe, which is not done by most of the surgeon. If it is too late, then it doesn't interlock. So it has to be at right time. Now how to apply? And as I told you, failure of component is very less. If you do cementing of femoral component, they takes equal cementation on both the surface or the medial or lateral condyle of the femoral component, and there is no difference in the distal cut and anterior and posterior chamfer. You do cementing by any method. So distal cut takes always good cement, and even anterior posterior chamfers take. But problem lies. Here you can see there are 4 methods of cementing of femoral component. So best method is put a cement over the bone, pressurize it with the thumb, and put a cement over the femoral component, especially posteriorly, that is the especially if you put throughout, that is good, especially posteriorly is important, because cementation, this cadaver study shows cementation of posterior condyle is weakest link. So it is very important, and distal cementing is always good. You can see that graph, it says that, as I told you, that is the best penetration in that if you put cement both the surface, pressurize with the thumb. Similar is for the tibia. Put a cement over both the surface and pressurize, create a good bed and pressurize with the thumb. Because thumb is easy thing. And you can see the penetration is maximum when you use this method. If you put only on the component, not good. If you put only on the bone, it is not good. And you can see the weight of the cement is maximum cement is used when you do both the component, both bone and component, and pressurize it. So maximum cement is consumed in that technique. So maximum depth is also achieved in the same technique. Now question, very important question that is always confusing, whether to do, it is about the tibial tray, whether to do only cementing of the tray or stem as well. So what the literature says, this is full cementation, you can see, whole surface is also cemented, as well as that stem part is also, broach part is also cemented. So what literature says, full cementation has certain drawback, because it causes stress shielding and difficult revision if you have also cemented. So if you are not doing full cementation, if you are doing only surface cementation, perhaps there should be good penetration. That is the most important. Another few system, and this also depends on the system as well. Few system they recommend surface as well as stem cementing. Few surface they recommend only surface fixation. But penetration, if you are doing only cement cement phase, only surface, penetration, thumb pressurization is the key. Here you can see. And under surface of different company, few company they have like that, some ribbed or some lines, few they have dull surface to prevent the loosening between the component and cement. So now how to do cementing with, there are situations when you cannot use tourniquet. I routinely use tourniquet, but there are calcified vessels. So how to do good cementing without tourniquet? So it is very easy. So what you have to do, you are keeping knee in the flexion. So already blood supply is less in the bone cut surface. And what you have to do, just keep ready your pressure lavage, keep ready your sponge, and just put a clean it and use a sponge quickly. Then quickly take a cement, pressurize it before blood sips in, before blood fills the trabeculae from inside. Before that you pressurize the cement into the trabeculae. Once you have pressurized the cement into the trabeculae, blood cannot take out the cement. That is most important. So that is the important tip and trick for how to do cementing without the tourniquet. So this is our case. You can see the surface without tourniquet. Sorry, without tourniquet, because we were doing thesis that time. So how to achieve final ventral length should be stand still. There should not be flexion as well as hyperextension. And clear all the cement, the remaining cement, especially debris, loose particle, to avoid the third body wear. And so message is, cementing is the most important aspect of arthroplasty, and it is best, till date we have best for the fixation of component. And in total knee arthroplasty, application of cement on bone and surface, thumb pressurization is the key. And good cementing is art, whether it is total hip and total knee. Thank you. For the 10 minutes tourniquet, bleeding is almost same. It almost, reaction is almost same. If you use for very long time, like 10 minutes or 50 minutes, they do not cause. Even 10 minutes is as damaging as 50 minutes, maybe little less damaging.
Yes, using the tourniquet for a short period of time will definitely reduce the pain post-operative.
Pain, that is the for the any definitely. If it's that 2 decade time is less, then pain will be less.
But you rightly mentioned that in some cases the 2-decade use even for a short duration is a problem. Like the patient with the calcified and calcified vessels, Dr. Phil, we are not seeing here too many cases like that. We do see a few cases. But what's the experience, your experience?
You're right, but we don't want to use a tourniquet in those situations. I've never quite understood why we're so worried about bleeding in the total knee. I've cemented hips for years without a tourniquet, and there will be bleeding in the shaft, and it never worries us. We always get a good cement mat, we always get good penetration, so I'm not too concerned if there's a little bit of blood on the surface of a total knee that I cement. What I don't understand is, as you say, cementation is very important, but nobody in India seems to want to use vacuum mixing, and it makes the cement stronger. It's clearly shown. Cement that is vacuum mixed is much stronger.
Yeah, its quality is better.
And it's slightly, sure, the mixer is a little bit more expensive, but it is an important part. So why is it not used?
Because of cost. Cost.
But it's a minor cost.
Even you are right, but we are doing it.